Okay, guys, what we have here is a general presentation to kind of go through, and that will hopefully lead to some questions and discussion. And Mrs. Russell, in also not only being our kind of our presenter mouse here, she'll also be monitoring the chat room or the chat feature. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and type those in there, and then she can let me know that those are present, and we'll work through them all. So go ahead, Mrs. Russell, if you will go ahead and start. First thing that, we went too many slides.
I shouldn't have pressed play.
There you go. The first thing that a lot of people are unaware of is kind of the background on the benefits that are associated with attending a program at a career center. There's certain things to keep in mind, and these are some things that don't just go for the biotechnology program, but they go for all of the programs. And that being, first off, that we see is that about 93% of CTE, that's career tech education students, graduate from high school, compared nationally to only about 80%. And the reason you see there is that when students are interested in a particular subject, a particular field of study, and they see this going towards a future career, we see a level of participation and interest that you generally don't see in a traditional high school. What we see also is that students, it says 90% of CTE students have the ability to learn real world skills compared to only 49% of CTE students. And that goes to the fact that the career centers are developed for, in many cases, placing students directly into the workforce after high school. In the case of the biotechnology program, our goal is not to prepare students to go directly into the workforce, but it's to prepare them for what they'll be exposed to at the college and university level, because they know that they want to pursue degrees in science and one day work in the field. But we just know that that isn't going to be as 18-year-olds. It's going to be as 22 or 23-year-olds. Good. You can go to the next. Thank you. Now, the biotechnology program, a lot of people have questions as to what on earth it is. Well, in a nutshell, the biotechnology program is designed specifically, as I stated, to prepare students for college and university study after high school. When you look at a traditional high school, and I can use my own experience as an example, I had some fantastic science teachers and they were great people. However, in my junior year, I got to be in a chemistry class for 42 minutes a day. And in my senior year, I got to be in a physics classroom for 42 minutes a day. And in each of those classes, there was about 25 students. And I will tell you that over the course of those 2 years, we did practically nothing hands-on. Now, I think back and I loved science as a young person, and I can't imagine how much I would have enjoyed being a part of the biotech program, because I knew as a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, I wanted to go off and pursue a degree in science after high school. And so for those students who know that they want to do that, this is a place where they get to spend one half of their school day in both their junior and their senior year studying biology and chemistry, and not only doing it in a traditional, classroom setting, but every day of the week that they're with me here, they spend a great deal of time in the laboratory doing things hands-on. Topics that we cover are basic chemistry, organic chemistry, biochemistry. We cover many topics in molecular biology, genetic engineering, and even environmental science. Students who go through the biotech program come out with their 10-hour OSHA certification, as well as their first aid and CPR certification. And then in the senior year, students are eligible to get 3 semester hours of college credit through what is called a CTAG agreement with Ohio universities in the topic of medical terminology. Often students will ask me kind of, what do I need to have in place in order to be a biotech student? Well, we have on the right side of that slide, we're looking for students that have earned at least a proficient score on their end of course exams in science, somebody who has strong math and reading skills, someone with at least a 2.5 GPA, a C or better in algebra, someone with positive attendance records, and somebody with no more than 2 credit deficiencies towards graduation. Now, I will tell you that those requirements, that bar is set at that 2.5 GPA for the purpose of allowing many students to go ahead and have the opportunity to be a part of the program. I often tell people that if you have a 2.5 GPA and there's been some extenuating circumstances as to why that 2.5 GPA is what you have, biotech might be an okay fit for you. But I also caution students that if you're giving an honest effort and a 2.5 GPA is what you have at the stage at the end of your sophomore year, this is going to be a very, very, very difficult program for you. I find that even students that have 4.0s are challenged, and it's designed to be challenging because of the fact that students who wish to go off and get degrees in biology and chemistry or chemical engineering, or wish to pursue areas of healthcare careers later on, they're going to be exposed to very rigorous curriculum at the university level, and this is all meant to prepare them for that. Go ahead, Mrs. Russell, if you would. This is an example. This diagram here is what we call a career tree, and we have these in all of the different programs here at TCTC. And you take a look at this particular career tree, and students ask, well, where can I end up? Well, right now, when students enter, they're kind of down at the trunk, and they work towards the top of that tree. And you see there's different pathways. You can have students go through the biotech program that go off and get technical careers, like maybe they're clinical lab technicians, hazardous material handling technician. For example, one of our students from last year, Josh, he just called me about 2 months ago and told me that he got a job as a hazardous waste handling technician. And he loves the job. People that are interested in becoming a pharmacy technician or state tested nurse assistant, STNA, people that are interested in practical nursing or wildlife law enforcement, wastewater treatment technicians, and so on. All of those careers that you see kind of on the left side of that diagram are ones that require certainly post-secondary educations, but not normally bachelor's degrees. You're looking at people that have associate's degrees or just certificates after high school. Then you have some people that are interested in doing nothing after high school. They just want to go directly into the workforce. And you see some of those areas that are, certainly a part of the biotech program. But what I will tell you is that an overwhelming majority, probably greater than 80% of the students that come through the biotech program, wish to kind of go that middle route that goes up to the top right of that diagram. A majority of our students go off and get degrees in biology, chemistry, chemical engineering. They maybe go on to study pharmacy. They maybe go on to med school. Some go into nursing programs. And there's just many, many hundreds, if not thousands of different careers that students can pursue with a strong fundamental background in both biology and chemistry. Go ahead, Mrs. Russell, if you would. One thing that, the numbers, if you take a look at the numbers associated with the biotech program, we're typically very small. This year we have 11 juniors and 11 seniors, and that's a little bit big. That's bigger than normal. We sometimes have fewer than 7 or 8 in each class. And what that allows students to do is allows them to get a lot of one-on-one attention with me, their instructor, and it allows us to build a relationship with the students that encourages them to come back for their senior year. And what we see is that we have several years going now to where we have 100% retention. That means students that were part of the junior program matriculate into the senior year program as well. And that number there that says half of biotech graduates from 2020 enrolled in universities or colleges in the field of health or science, that is true. Just half of them went directly into bachelor's programs in either nursing or some healthcare related field. About 25% of the others went off and are just getting degrees in biology or chemistry because they know that they eventually want to go off and get their PhDs or at least their masters in those particular areas. Go ahead, Ms. Russell. Opportunities, like I already mentioned from our career tree, we have students that have become biologists. We have students that I just spoke just recently to a former student of ours. He's now on the university faculty at the State University of New York in Buffalo. He is a biologist. We just had a chemist who is a former graduate meet with the students via Zoom meeting like this a couple weeks ago. There are students that went into biological engineering, chemical engineering, nurse practitioners, geologists, petroleum engineers, and even education. Sometimes we get students that say, you know, I want to become a science teacher. And I always tell students that it's weird. If you want to play football, we practice football. And we get ready for the game on Friday. And the way that we do that is on Thursday, we practice football. On Wednesday, we practice football. Tuesday, we practice football. On Monday, we practice football. And I said, so why would it be any different? If you tell me that you want to have a future career in science, I think we should be practicing science every day that you're in school. And that's what this program is about, actually getting students prepared for future careers in science. This particular slide here was put together by our administrative staff, and that is a picture of my classroom. That's from a couple years ago. Those statements there are not from students of mine, but they're students from the TCTC, and they talk about kind of how being there, they were more likely to be prepared. They felt better prepared for college. They're taught time management skills. They are treated in a little bit more mature fashion than they would be at their home schools. They're expected to do things on their own. They're expected to learn. They're expected to keep up on their work, and that's all for the preparation as to what lies ahead. Good, Mrs. Russell. Now, if you're someone who is interested in the biotech program, there are some things to keep in mind. Is that there is something called a priority deadline. That priority deadline to go ahead and put in your application gives you kind of the first choice at which programs you can be a part of. There are certainly opportunities for people to apply after that. However, by applying by that January 15th deadline, it kind of gives you a first spot to check out which areas you want to go into. And what do we have after that? Yep. Now, at that time, this is all that I had for you guys, and I know that was very quick. I hope that you guys have some questions for me or for Mrs. Russell. And if you need to get a hold of me, right there is my email address. That is michael.lvitro@tctchome.com. Our website is just tctchome.com, where you can go ahead and find out more information, not just about the biotech program, but all of them. And then that number there is the general number for the school. That's 330-847-0503. Now, if there are any questions at this point, Mrs. Russell, has anybody asked anything in the chat box or indicated anything that they want to know?
Actually, I was unable to check it because of presenting. So
Okay.
I'm going to look at it right now. I didn't want to interrupt you. Here. Give me 1 second.
And I guess there wouldn't be a problem with people. Do they have the ability to unmute themselves and just simply ask a question?
They do. And there is nothing in the chat.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to unmute and ask any question, whether it's for Mr. Alvitro or if it is some type of academic question as far as our offerings and things like that, feel free to unmute and ask away.
Everybody's bashful.
So we have a question from Landon. He wants to know if transportation is provided from Howland, and absolutely it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, Landon, what we have, I think this might be the first year that I don't have any Howland students. I typically have at least 1 or 2 or sometimes 3. And the way it works, Landon, is that your home school provides transportation from your home, just like you normally would. They would take you generally to the high school, where they would put you on a different bus, and all the students who attend TCTC would go ahead and get on that bus and come on out. And then the reverse takes place in the afternoon. Something to keep in mind too, a lot of students have the question as to, can I still participate in things at my home school if I'm a TCTC student? And the answer to that is most definitely. You know, I have students that play on the football team, kids that play on the soccer team, kids that swim, kids that are in choir, kids that are in band. All of those things, the schools will permit students to still be a part of, because you're still a student of that homeschool. You just come here in addition.
We also have a question from Victoria. She said, what if she does not have much hands-on experience as of yet? Are there things over the summer that she can do to prepare?
Oh, that's perfect. Good question. Victoria, I wouldn't worry about it, because what I find is about 99.99% of my students have very little experience working in a laboratory. And so if you are someone who has never done anything in a laboratory, don't worry about it. We get you there. And I commend your interest in wanting to do some stuff over the summer, but the summer is a time for you to relax and have fun, especially after this unusual school year. Next year, when you come out, we'll get you started.
Okay, we have a question from Brianna. She
Mhm.
said for college, she's going for a clinical data manager or forensic science. Would this be a good class to take to get her prepared for that?
Certainly. You know, I've had I guess it was about 4 years ago, I had a student who graduated from the program, and she went to Tiffin University for the purpose of getting her degree in forensic science. Forensic science is certainly a growing area of science, and we anticipate more and more jobs in that field as we go forward. And the one thing to keep in mind is that when you go to get a degree in forensic science, it's a whole lot of biology and a whole lot of chemistry. And the more of it that you get here as a high school student, the better prepared you are for it when you go to college. Now, if you're talking about, say, a career in, say, data management or something like that, it, it may not directly prepare you for that, but here's the benefit of it. I've had students who come to me right from the very beginning and say, my family owns a business, and it's kind of expected of me that I get a degree in business and I work for the family business, but I like science. And that's why I'm here. And I said, well, it's not for nothing, because when you learn how to learn science, when you really put yourself to the task of learning something difficult, it pays huge dividends in other things. I often tell people, if you can learn chemistry and you can learn biology and you can learn physics, when you go to school and get that degree in business or in data management, I don't mean to take away from it, but it will seem easy, because it's the skills that you learn on how to become self-disciplined. How do I learn new and challenging material that pay huge dividends regardless of what you go to school for? Good question.
Any others? All right, well, I'll give you guys a moment that if there's anything else you can think of that you would like to ask, please work that up in the chat. Otherwise, just to let you know a little bit about our academics, especially for you guys that are interested in biotechnology, we also have a ton of higher academic offerings here at TCTC. You still get your general English and math and sciences that you would typically need for your junior and senior year, but we also offer College Credit Plus. So in addition to the potential credits that you can earn in the biotechnology program, you can also earn that dual credit in math, that dual credit in English, and I don't believe that we have anything for government as of yet, but I believe that we're working towards possibly getting a CCP course, even in additional sciences, but that'll be taken care of through biotech for you guys. But if you have any questions as far as like specific courses that you're interested in other than the biotech program, then please feel free to unmute. You guys don't have to continue just in the chat. You're welcome to speak up if you'd like to, but ask away for sure. And then we do have one more question. So from Lily, she wants to know, would this program be beneficial for the interest of radiation therapy?
Yeah, in fact, we have a student from some years ago, Katie Simmons, and I'm sure she doesn't mind me using her name and using her as an example. Katie was an extremely talented young lady who came to us from Champion High School. She completed the biotech program. She then went to Kent Salem to get her degree in, I believe that is radiology tech. that she got that in. And then she went, after that, she went on to study at the University of Virginia to get her degree in, I believe it's called radiation therapy or radiation, medicine. And what she does is she works with the oncologist to deliver radiation therapy for people who are being treated for cancer. And she now works at the University of Virginia, which she received her degree from there and did an internship while she was down there, and they kept her on staff. So this is certainly a good place to start a career in that field.
Any more questions? While you guys are maybe coming up with them, if you do have more things that you would like to know about our academic offerings, we very much encourage you to attend our academic kind of / CCP Zoom sessions. So they are also available, the same place where you signed up for biotech, this particular session. You can also sign up for an academic session, and they kind of explain a little bit more about, all the different types of things that you can take as far as courses go. They're offered at 5:30, which obviously you're not going to that one because you're here. But there's another one at 6:30, and then there's an additional one at 7:30. Give you guys maybe a couple more minutes just in case there's more questions.
Yeah, they might. Some of them probably are scheduled to be somewhere at 6. So we got them for another 2 more minutes, I guess.
All right. Emma says thank you.
Oh, thank you, Emma. We appreciate you stopping by. Hey, one last thing I'll leave you guys with. If you are, this is probably more germane to the young people here, the students, if you are users of Instagram and you want to know more about the program, you can kind of keep tabs on what we're doing by following TCTC Biotech on Instagram. We can go ahead, you can watch what we do here. We post quite regularly about things that are going on in the lab and stuff like that. Thanks for coming out tonight, guys. Maybe I'll see some of you next year, students.
Victoria, you're welcome too. We had another thing. You're welcome, Landon. Hope you guys have a great night and enjoy your other sessions.